Hi everyone, welcome. As you can see out here in my yard, we're starting to see some of the early signs of autumn where a few of the trees are beginning to kick off some of their leaves. And I guess we could even hang on to some of this stuff if we wanted to, just let it blend into the system's bedding. It's not unusual for me to use just leaves out of my yard as bedding. Last time the bedding we opted for was a whole bunch of grass that I had just cut, which was something I never tried before. It was actually the recommendation of one of my viewers who suggested to try that, and it stuck in my mind, and I finally had the chance to give that a try. So what I got for these little guys after a 13-day interval since our last check-in is some strawberry, a whole bunch of strawberry actually, including a couple full strawberries, or at least one I saw. There's a banana peel and some cantaloupe melon rinds. And I pocketed a number of soiled napkins that I thought I might use as bedding. Here I've been going into the variety mode of giving them all kinds of different types of bedding, whether it's leaves like I mentioned earlier, or perhaps bringing up some shredded paper cardboard from downstairs from the wormery. Looks like they've actually come right up through this massive layer of grass that we laid in here. Let me see if I can give you a sense of how thick this stuff was placed in here. Well, I guess I spread it out pretty good, so it's, I don't know, there's a good bit of grassy material in here. And sometimes worms seem a bit reluctant to climb into brand new bedding, which is kind of sterile and uninteresting. But to me that seems like a really good sign to see that some of the worms have come up for some of that recirculating moisture that's within the system that had tried to come up, out, and escape but couldn't due to our nice sturdy top coverings of plywood. So whatever moisture would have otherwise vaporized away, evaporated out of here, got caught and returned into this bed of grass, which the worms seem to be taking a shine to. I guess it would make good sense to treat this top coating of bedding the same as I do most other top coatings of bedding. Usually when I leave one of my systems with a nice sprinkling of leaves at the end of a check-in, the next time we come back in, normally I'll just try to incorporate that stuff since it's had a chance to sort of break in and become one with the system in a way, rather than just being a whole bunch of like I said, sterile stuff that has no microbes or bacteria or fungi or anything going on in it. That's the sort of stuff that seems to me like bedding that the worms would generally not be so interested in. So I'm out here because I had originally planned feeding tomorrow, but they're calling for rain all day tomorrow, and for that matter, even though I'm under the tree right now and not feeling it, when I step out from under the tree I could feel a little bit of drizzle coming down. So hopefully the light situation here isn't too abysmal. Hopefully you can see what's going on here, even though it is a bit dark. Here's one of our little black soldier fly friends that we spent a little time checking out during the last visit. It's getting cool. It's getting really chilly now, making me wonder how the black soldier flies are going to fare, because they can't really tolerate very cool temperatures. They're definitely a warm weather insect. So I don't know, is this the same guy I tossed aside earlier? This one seems a little bit smaller. It's just another one, I suppose. Another black soldier fly larvae. So let's get some of these. This is like a El Cheapo type napkin that I use here at home. And I think that all the rest of these are the napkins that I put in my pocket after I'm done eating a meal at my mom's house. And regulars on my channel know that these napkins come in a variety of different colors. My mom's always got the right color napkin to fit the right event or affair or situation. But today we just happen to have plain old traditional white napkins, and I don't think the worms are going to be too fussy about it. So sometimes I'll come up here from the basement with other things to give them, such as grit, which I didn't do on this occasion. I just ran downstairs and I grabbed my glove and I figured let's shoot outside before the rain hits And give these little guys a feeding so that we don't have to make them wait too long. You know, if it had been rainy tomorrow, which it is going to be, then I'd be unable to come out here to tend to their needs. And when I watched the video from the previous check-in, it did seem to me like the last feeding was a little bit skimpy, you know, could have been more. So I'm just shoving a little banana peel down into the middle where I just fed. And, well, I'm trying to think of how to best incorporate all this grass. It's not all that important that we get it all blended in, but I'd like to get some of it incorporated. And I guess since we don't really have much of a top coating, I guess I could always grab that one last napkin in my pocket that I put aside just in case I should suddenly sneeze and find a need to wipe my nose. If we really wanted to put a top covering out here, we could always grab that napkin. But I'm not going to do that. I don't know why, but I always sort of have this tendency to prefer the natural sort of appearance of my worm bins if possible, even though it's not a very common thing. But I do find myself often sprinkling leaves or whatever out onto the top surface just to try to mimic a natural environment. So that's pretty much it for our check-in, and I'm looking at how much time has passed since I turned on the camera, and it's certainly not been much. Which is perfect, because that's precisely what I was after for this check-in. Try to get this taken care of 1, 2, 3 so I don't get stuck out here in the rain. At this point we're going to get everything covered up more or less the way we found it and let these little guys get back to work. So I'm trying to think if I can remember some of the stats, and I think the last check-in was 13 days ago, at which point I think they received feeding 10, so this was probably feeding 11, and today is day 125 in this system. Things are looking really nice. So that's it for the check-in, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.